Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name's Rhiannon and today I'm filming my December book haul. I was so lucky throughout December where I received quite a few gifts, and so that is the majority of this pile that I have next to me. So I am going to split it up into gifts, then the books I got for Christmas, and finally the books I bought myself. So without further ado, let's just dive into the video. The first two books that I have to show you guys are The Bone Season and The Mime Order by Samantha Shannon. These were kindly gifted to me by Caris over at Caris's Corner. So thank you so much once again, Caris. She did actually reach out to me and ask if I wanted the hardcover copies of these books, and of course I said yes. They are also signed, even though it does say to Caris, but we can just ignore that, it's fine. But this is a series I've been wanting to get to for so long, and now I'm so glad that I have the hardcovers for these. I know that the hardcover for the third book, which is The Song Rising, I believe, is extremely hard to get your hands on, so I don't know if I will ever own that one. If not, it doesn't really matter. I will just continue to buy the books as they come out now. But I'm just so thankful to Caris for sending these to me and just for thinking about me in the first place. So I believe in this one we follow a girl named Paige Mahoney who is a clairvoyant, but that is not a good thing because in this world any sort of magic, I want to say, is prohibited, and so she is committing treason by just being alive. Then one day Paige gets herself into a very sticky situation where she reveals her powers to this government and she is promptly arrested. She thinks that she will be executed, but that is not the case because the government has other plans for her. That's all I want to know. This is on my January TBR, so I will be getting to it very soon, and I'm so excited to do so because I've heard great things about this series. It is one that I've started quite a few times, but I've just never gotten past about 80 pages, so it's definitely time to sit down and finish this book, and I just can't wait to do so. Next up, I have a book that was sent to me off of my Amazon wishlist, and that is The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman, and this was actually sent to me by Alex, so thank you so much, Alex. I know I've thanked you before, but I will never get over the fact that you sent me this off of my wish list. It was such a lovely surprise, and I don't know if you can tell, but I am currently reading this book and I am very much enjoying it. To be honest, I don't have a clue how to describe this book to you, so I will just read you the synopsis because it hooked me in straight away and I think it just sums up the book beautifully. So it says, "This is what he remembers as he sits by the ocean at the end of the lane. A dead man on the back seat of the car and warm milk out the farmhouse. An ancient little girl and an old woman who saw the moon being made. A beautiful housekeeper with a monstrous smile, and dark forces woken that were best left undisturbed. They are memories hard to believe, waiting at the edges of things. The recollections of a man who thought he was lost, but is now, perhaps, remembering a time when he was saved." Like I said, I've already started this one. I'm over halfway through and really enjoying it. It's very much a magical realism type of book, so it is difficult to explain, but I am really enjoying it so far. I can't wait to see how it all comes together at the end. But if you want to know my final thoughts on this, then please keep an eye out for my January wrap-up that will be coming later on this month, where I'll be discussing my thoughts about this book. Next up, we have the books that I got for Christmas, and I did get quite a few actually. I never really get books for Christmas because I feel like people know that if I want a book I will have already bought it, and so it's very hard for them to buy me a book. But Tom and his family did ask me for my Amazon wishlist, and so I sort of created a more specific one for them because, like I keep saying, my wishlist is just a range of different books that I've had my eye on for a while that sound interesting to me, but for his family I decided to create a more specific sort of list, so my favourites off of my wish list in a way, and I have some amazing books here to show you. The first one of those is Rage of Dragons by Evan Winters, and this is a chunky one, let me tell you that. It is lovely though because it's so floppy. This is one I honestly know nothing about, but I've heard so many good things about it that it's been on my radar for a while now and I just needed to have it in my hands. But in this one, Queen Taifa had the will to do what must be done, striding past the bodies of the gifted that she'd sacrificed and ignoring the horrified faces of her ruling council. Taifa ends up turning away from this new land that would end up being her people's home, and I guess she leaves that world behind her now and moves on to something new. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure about the plot of this one. It's just little bits that I remember from what people have said about it online. This one is an adult fantasy book, and I do prefer to dive into these not really knowing anything anyway, just so I don't have any expectations. It always takes between about 100 and 200 pages for me to fall into a book as well, and that's just so I can get used to the writing style, start to get to know the characters and the places and all that sort of thing. So I would much prefer to dive into this one not really knowing anything, but I will just read you what it says on the back here because it says Game of Thrones meets Gladiator and Evan Winters' The Rage of Dragons, a novel that started as a self-publishing sensation and has become one of the most acclaimed epic fantasy debuts of recent years. Okay, so this is also a debut novel, which I'm very excited about because, like I said, I've heard nothing but but good things about this, and I always love finding new authors as well. So this is definitely one I've been interested in for a really long time, and I'm so thankful that Tom's mum actually got this for me for Christmas. Next up is a gift from Tom's sister, and that is The Book of Dust by Philip Pullman. If you guys have watched some of my recent videos, you'll know that I did start reading the His Dark Materials trilogy, and I am obsessed with it. It is fast becoming one of my favourite series of all time. I just have the third book to finish now, and I am honestly so scared to dive into it. I've been putting it off for this month, so it will definitely be next month now. I just cannot wait to see how that trilogy ends, and I decided because I love that trilogy so much, I wanted to get Philip Pullman's next book, and that is The Book of Dust. This is quite a recent release actually. I remember when it did come out, I want to say about 2 or 3 years ago. Yeah, I think it was 2017 this came out, so it wasn't too long ago, and I've had my eye on it ever since because it is something that has always intrigued me. But obviously because I hadn't read the His Dark Materials trilogy, I couldn't move on to this one because I think it is in the same sort of world and has the same characters, if I'm not mistaken. But in this one we follow a boy named Malcolm, and his life in Oxford has been one of routine and has been very ordinary in fact. He is happiest when he's playing with his demon in their little canoe called La Belle Sauvage. I hope I'm saying that right. But now as the rains start to build, the world around Malcolm and his demon is starting to become unfamiliar and increasingly far from ordinary. Finding himself linked to a baby named Lyra Balakwa, who is a very prominent character in the His Dark Materials series, Malcolm is forced to undertake the challenge of his life, and that is to make a journey that will change the lives of him and Lyra forever. Okay, so this is definitely more of a prequel, so I guess you could go into this one without reading the first trilogy. Again, this is one that I cannot wait to dive into, and I will be making it a high priority once I finish the third book in the His Dark Materials trilogy, which is The Amber Spyglass. Right, the next two books that I have both go together in some sort of way, which you will see in a second. The first one of those is The Book of Lost Tales Part 1 by J.R.R. Tolkien. If you know me, you know that I absolutely love Tolkien's works, The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy in particular, but I am definitely wanting to branch out into more of his works this year. I am participating in a read-along for the rest of his books called Fellowship of the Read-Along, which has 3 hosts I believe, but I will leave the information for that down below for you guys. It doesn't include this one, but these books are some that I've wanted to collect for a while now. This is the first one, and as you can see it is numbered, so this is number 1, and I think there are 13 in total, and I definitely want to collect all of them, so I decided to put this on my list just so that I could have it and start building my collection. I believe that this focuses a lot more on the history of Middle-earth in general. I know some of them are more specific towards the Lord of the Rings, but then we have other ones such as this one that covers a lot of the other stories that we don't really see as much. If you love Tolkien, this is definitely something you'd want to look into. So it just says here, the Book of Lost Tales stands at the beginning of the entire conception of Middle-earth and Valinor, for the tales were the first form of the myths and legends that came to be called the Silmarillion. Embedded in English legend and English association, they are set in the narrative frame of a great westward voyage over the ocean by a mariner named Eriol, or Elfwine, to Tol Eressëa, the lonely isle where elves dwelt. From them he learned their true history, the lost tale of Elfiness. In the tales are found the earliest accounts and original ideas of gods and elves, dwarves, balrogs and orcs, of the Silmarils and the 2 trees of Valinor, of Nargothrond and Gondolin, of the geography and cosmology of the invented world. This is definitely going to be an intense book filled with a lot of different facts about Tolkien's worlds, which I am just here for, to be honest with you. I'm not going to be diving into this one just yet though, because I do have quite a few of Tolkien's books I want to get to before this one, but I'm very excited to have this in my collection now, and hopefully it won't be too long until I can dive into it. Like I said, this is the same sort of book as the last one, and that is Beren and Luthien by J.R.R. Tolkien. Tom actually got me this one, and I'm so thankful because he knows I love Tolkien. I don't think he realised what he got himself into when we first got together, but my love for Tolkien's works, and just the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit in particular at the minute, and the films for those, are just something that have been such a comfort to me throughout my whole life. I wouldn't be the person I am today without those, and the fact that Tom has bought me a Tolkien book is just absolutely perfect, and the fact that it's about Beren and Luthien is just so fitting for me because Tom and I sort of met each other and knew straight away that we were made for each other. I know that sounds completely cheesy and off topic, but it's so true. And this book is about Beren, who is a mortal man, and Luthien, who is an elf maiden, and they fall in love despite all of the odds, and it's just a lovely tale of how love conquers all in a way, and I just can't get over the fact that Tom bought this for me. It's so sweet, and it's one that I've been wanting to get to for such a long time now. And it just says here that in this book, Christopher Tolkien, who is J.R.R. Tolkien's son, has attempted to extract the story of Beren Beren and Luthien from the comprehensive work in which it was embedded, but that story was itself changing as it developed new associations within the larger history. And because of that, it says that he's told the story in his own words by giving first its original form and then passages in prose and verse from later texts that illustrate the narrative as it changed. Presented together for the first time, they reveal aspects of the story, both in event and in narrative immediacy, that were afterwards lost. This is going to be a mix of text, as you see here, and verse, as you can see here. Also, the illustrations in this are absolutely beautiful. They're by Alan Lee, who is one of my favourite concept artists for Tolkien's worlds, and anything that he illustrates I'm sure to pick up because he just captures everything so beautifully, and I cannot wait to see how he brings this story to life too. Next up, I do have the December Fairy Loot book, so if you haven't seen my unboxing for that, I will leave it linked up above here. But the book that was in that box was Master of One by Jada Jones and Danny Bennett, and they are actually a married couple and they decided to become co-authors, which is just absolutely amazing. But in this one, life in the Queen City isn't easy, especially for a thief such as Rags, and when his latest job goes awry, he is captured by the royal sorcerer Morien the Last, who forces him to steal 6 pieces of an immeasurably powerful Fey relic. Rags is determined to get away unscathed until he finds out that the 6 pieces that Morien is after are actually people. I believe then a load of different characters come into play and sort of come together to try and defeat Morien, because there's no way that they can let him enact this terrible plan. So this sounds absolutely brilliant. It's another one that I definitely want to get to soon. I might join in the Fairy Loot read along for this because I'm very interested in it, and it sounds like one that I will definitely enjoy. To be honest though, it wasn't one that I'd heard of before I received it in the box. I definitely feel like it should receive more hype because the synopsis just sounds absolutely amazing, and this version of the book is absolutely beautiful. If any of you have read this book, please let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. But yeah, it's another one that I'm just so excited to get to, and I definitely need to prioritise on my TBR. And now we have come to the last little stack, and these are the books that I bought myself this month. The first one of those is The Castle of Tangled Magic by Sophie Anderson. I recently read another book by this author called The Girl Who Speaks Bear, and I really did enjoy it. She has such a magical way of writing and bringing you into the story that when I saw this one, I decided to pick it up. It was in a 2 for £7 deal, so I will show you the other book that I got in that deal in a sec. But if you know me, you know that I cannot pass up a bargain, and I felt like £3.50 for this book is just way too cheap, and so I decided to snap it up whilst it was there. And in this one, when 13-year-old Olia steps through a doorway, she discovers another land. A land tangled by magic where all hope is lost and a scheming wizard holds all the power. Soon though, Olia learns that she is actually destined to save this land. But with time running out and her new friends and family in danger, she must search for the magic within herself to save everyone and everything she loves. This just sounds so amazing. I've really gotten into middle grade last year and I cannot wait to dive into another one. I also feel like I've heard a lot of hype about this one, so I'm definitely excited to dive into it. Then we have The Cousins by Karen M. McManus. This is actually a young adult thriller, and I've been really enjoying those lately, and when I saw this beautiful edition of this book in the 2 for £7 offer, I decided to pick it up. I do have all of the other books by Karen M. McManus. I've read 2 of them and really enjoyed them. Definitely need to carry on with the rest of them though. But I believe in this one we are following a rich family, but one day all of this sort of falls apart. The 4 children of this family are cast aside by their mother, who leaves a single note that reads, "You know what you did." Years later, when cousins Aubrey and Jonah receive a mysterious invitation to spend the summer at their grandmother's resort, they have no choice but to go there and to meet the woman who has been an enigma throughout their whole lives. The teenagers are determined to discover the truth, however some truths are better left undiscovered. I'm very excited to get to this one. I have just recently read another YA thriller that I really enjoyed, and it's definitely made me want to pick up more soon, so I'm definitely hoping I could put this one on one of my next TBRs. And then the last 2 books that I bought I'm just going to show you together because they are Ready Player One and Ready Player Two by Ernest Cline. I absolutely love the film Ready Player One. It's one of my absolute favourites. If I ever want to watch a film and don't know what I'm feeling like watching, I will always put this one on. It just absolutely fascinates me, and I love the world and the concept of it and the gaming aspect. It's just absolutely brilliant. But it's one that I've never picked up, and so when Ready Player 2 was announced, I thought about buying this, but I didn't actually do it. I don't know why again, but recently I did see that this edition was being released. I don't know if it's a new one or what, but it is one with red sprayed edges, which is absolutely beautiful, and I decided that because this one was coming out, I would just buy both of them so that I could binge read them. So I'm just double checking with the synopsis because because like I said, I'm very much a fan of the film, and so I would be giving you the film synopsis rather than the book. And apparently the book is quite different and the film did leave out very important parts of it, but it does say here, in the year 2045, reality is an ugly place. The only time Wade Watts really feels alive is when he's jacked into the Oasis, a vast virtual world where most of humanity spend their days. When the eccentric creator of the Oasis dies, he leaves behind a series of fiendish puzzles based on his obsession with the pop culture of decades past. Whoever's first to solve them will inherit his vast fortune and control over the Oasis itself. When Wade cracks the first clue, suddenly he's beset by rivals who'll kill to take the prize. The race is on and the only way to survive is to win. To be honest, I could have given you the synopsis that I'm familiar with from the film because it sounds very much the same. Of course the book is going to have a lot more detail in it, so I'm very excited to dive into this one. And then if I need to, I can dive into the second book as soon as possible. Right, that is it for my December book haul, guys. It's definitely quite a big one, and I just want to say my hauls going forward shouldn't be as big because I am on a sort of book buying ban. I'm definitely making a much more conscious effort to stop buying books because, as you can see, in this pile alone I have quite a few that I'm very excited to get to, and because of that I will be ignoring some books that I already have on my shelves and that have been on my shelves for quite a while now. And yeah, I just want to tackle my own TBR and get it down quite substantially, and I feel like this year is definitely the time to do so. Also, very soon you guys will be finding out something very exciting, and that does sort of relate to why I don't want to be spending money on books right now. So definitely click the subscribe button and the little bell icon so you can be notified when I post, and that when I do finally post that video you guys won't miss it. And let me tell you, it is such an exciting one, and as you can tell by my face, I cannot wait. For now though, I am going to give you today's Welsh word of the day. If you do ever want to be featured in one of my videos, just leave a comment down below with an English word you want me to translate into Welsh, and leave Welsh word of the day next to it so I know that that's what you're referring to, and I will make sure to choose your word and translate it for you in one of my videos. Right, so I've just got my phone here just to double check the Welsh word of the day. This one is actually by Angela, so thank you so much Angela for commenting, and she's put Welsh word of the day, winter. I'm not sure if I've actually translated winter before, but I definitely don't mind doing it again. And so the Welsh word for winter is gaeaf. Gaeaf. Please don't forget to click the like button if you like this video, as well as the subscribe button if you'd like to see more content from me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. It truly does mean the world to me, and I will see you soon in my next one. Goodbye!